look ahead to these next two games.
Looking forward to the next two games. I mean, tough division matchups that we have here coming up against Seattle and then going up against Arizona the following week, traveling down to our second home from last season. In the best division in football, we're going up against two tough matchups. So what do you see as the keys for the 49ers in being successful against the Seahawks, first and foremost?
Okay. They have to find a way to run the ball schematically. It's not on the
Yes.
players executing better, Kyle, Mike McDaniel. It's on you guys. And you guys should be able to figure this out. But I'm going to tell you how to do it because you guys have your head in the game right now. So what you're going to face is you're going to face a six-man front. You faced it from them before. They're going to plug every single gap and have two guys setting the edge, and they're going to dare you to throw. But you still got to find a way to run the ball. So seems to me what you're going to get is you're going to get these guys setting the edge, and you're not going to get to the perimeter. What you need to do is push those guys out. Instead of trying to get outside of them, push them out. And the way you did it last year was you would have Juszczyk come in motion pre-snap like a jet sweep, and he would have like a jet sweep block, and you would get full speed and knock that outside linebacker further out and create some – basically what you do is it would be an RPO with Jeff Wilson Jr. coming up the middle off tackle and Juszczyk coming out, kicking out that guy. A better way to do that play would be with Trey Lance. You get in the shotgun, Trey Sermon off tackle, kick out with Juszczyk. You got the backside outside linebacker that is unblocked. And if he crashes down to get the running back, now Lance keeps it and gets to the perimeter. I think that's a good way, a better way to attack these fronts that they're going to face, because you can't just give up on the run game. You got to find a way to work it. Otherwise, you're going to lose a passing game to Russell Wilson.
Yes, this sets up perfectly if you can run the football. Seattle's defense to this point cannot get off the field, has struggled on third downs. What's the best way to succeed against that? Run the ball effectively on early downs, set up the short passing downs on third down, and allow Jimmy, with the good third down conversion rate at this point, to be successful and keep the drives alive.
I got another suggestion.
Please.
Kittle may not play.
Correct.
And the solution, if they're going to be dominant as a run blocking team, it's Dwelly's. That's not Dwelly's game. What they may want to try is some six offensive lineman formations. What you could do is bring in Jalen Moore and sort of put him between Brunskill and McGlinchey, and have McGlinchey be the sixth man on the offensive line. And instead of having Dwelly trying to kick out someone or block down on someone, it's McGlinchey, who's 6'8", 310. I think that's an interesting way. I mean, why not? If you're trying to run the ball, you widen the face of your formation, and you create more opportunities for double team.
Grant, has quality control, that might actually be the most creative thing that's come out of your mind to this point, and that's saying something. And
teams do it all the time.
More creative than what we've seen from the 49ers so far.
I'm just trying to help, and they don't even pay me.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah. But it's too late. They already got the game plan in. Hayes in the barn. Had they asked me on Monday, I could have told them. But now I'm just styling on them. It's like, you already know what you're going to do. This is what I would do. Could have told you. You didn't ask me. 6 offensive linemen. Zone read was with Trey Lance. That's how you get to the perimeter right there. I'll tell you right now.
So do you see a balanced attack against Seattle where we stick with the run, or do you think that we see another one where we let the run game get away from us and it's imbalanced?
If they let the run game get away from them and it doesn't work, they're going to lose quick. They're going to fall behind fast, I think. The only way they control this game is if they control the time of possession. And without Kittle, if Kittle doesn't play, I just don't think Jimmy's really built to win like that. Maybe he's done it a few times, but he's more of a complementary piece when the run game is working well.
Yes. Everything sets up off of the run.
There's no shame in that, but that's what he's best at.
Yes.
Top 10 quarterbacks are guys who can really put the team on their shoulders and win with their arm, but he's not exactly that.
With a top 10 quarterback, you can set up the run through the pass much more easily. The other way around, you really do have to set up the run first in order to clear up the passing game.
Yeah. The wide 9 can contain Wilson decently, but worries me against the Seahawks running game. Tackle play is crucial. I don't know about that. The wide 9, these defensive ends get so far upfield, it's really creates big escape routes for the quarterback. We'll see.
Yeah, we have seen Russell.
Go ahead.
We have seen Russell definitely burn us a few times.
Russell's third down conversion is not good so far. Well, he hasn't faced Diamond or Lenore yet.
That's right. Expect it to go up this week. Kyle Shanahan has predicted it.
Also, they run the ball really well. I mean, they average about 5 yards a carry, and the Niners are giving up about 5 yards a carry. So,
yeah. How do you feel about the matchup there against Chris Carson? I tend to think that we match up better against running backs with his play style.
Yeah, I think the issue right now with the Niners' run defense isn't the running backs they're facing. It's the fact that their defensive linemen are getting moved around because of the wide nine. Like they can't. They're exposing both of their defensive tackles to double teams, and DJ Jones, Javon Kinlaw, everyone, they're just getting moved around. And 2 years ago when Buckner was on the team, he would get moved around. I'm not a big fan of the wide nine. Saleh made it work. Ryan's not so much right now.
I'm a huge fan when it gets after the quarterback like it can, but when you get gashed continually in the run game, that is hard to watch. Do you see the same struggles for the starting two defensive tackles that you do when the rotations are coming in?
Hold on, say again.
In other words, do you see the same struggles from DJ Jones and Kinlaw to stop the run?
I do.
It's not just a drop off.
It's an impossible assignment. Both of these guys are getting double teamed, and what do you ask? That's like 700 pounds of man pushing against you. It's hard. 650. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Maybe if you had prime Haloti Nada, you could pull it off. But you need guys like that. Vita Vea, 350-pound behemoths who can't be moved. Hard.
Yeah. Big men. Hard. So I tend to think that Russell Wilson will be able to beat the 49ers off a defense over the top. Is that how you see the Seahawks attacking the 49ers with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett just trying to beat up on this decimated cornerbacking core?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to run the ball more than the Packers did, and they're going to take more shots than the Packers did. Absolutely. Yes. And they
Would you anticipate that the 49ers defense will get chewed up pretty quickly? In other words, will the Seahawks set it up for the 49ers to dominate time of possession through big shots?
Well, what if the Seahawks do exactly what the Packers do, where the run game works right away and it sets up play action and there's no pressure on the quarterback all game? I mean, that could happen too.
It could. I mean, Aaron Jones didn't go off, but it seemed only because they didn't need him to. It was 4.5 yards a carry 4.3, something like that. 19 for 82 was what he rushed for. So it wasn't an elite game from overall output, but as far as average, certainly he was getting the yards needed in order to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks are definitely not a good team. These are the two weaker teams in the NFC West right now.
Yes.
The Niners could definitely win this game. They're definitely talented enough. They certainly are good enough to beat the Seahawks. I'm not sure if they're well coached enough right now to beat the Seahawks, is what I'm trying to say.
Interesting.
They're talented enough to beat the Seahawks, but they're not using their first round pick who could help. He doesn't need to start, but he could help. There's no creativity in the run game. There's no creativity in the pass game. There's no creativity on defense. I don't know if the Niners are well coached enough right now to win this game.
Interesting. I actually saw the last game as too much creativity in the run game and not enough of the vanilla that would have just run down the Packers' throat. So I'll be interested to see how they come out in this game. Last thought on Seattle before we move into Arizona is, do you see this breaking the 49ers' way, or will it end up in the Seahawks' favor? And if it does, if you don't want to answer your prediction on the game, if you just want to go with the hypothetical, if the 49ers lose to the Seahawks, how crazy does this fan base go?
They'll go crazy. And I'm not going to pick a score, but I think the Seahawks are going to win just because I don't think the Niners have the corners to match up. Simple as that. I'm not going to say it's about Jimmy. I'm not going to say it's about Kyle, although he is the head coach. I'm saying this was a weak position coming into the season. Now they're down to backups, and they're going against two of the best wide receivers in the league and a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's a bad matchup. Now, they can certainly win, but it's a bad matchup. And they are 3-point favorites, but it's a bad matchup.
Yeah. Anytime you're bringing in people off the street for your backups, that is tough, right?
Yeah. So 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, what they had last week, that's not going to cut it. They're going to need 4 sacks, 11 quarterback hits.
Not going to cut it.
Ford has to do something. Eric Armstead has to do something because Bosa's getting mugged.
I see this breaking out as the 49ers taking advantage of the Seattle Seahawks not being able to get off of the field. I see long, sustained drives. I think it will be a close game, but my prediction, I'm not afraid to throw this score out there and be completely wrong on it, as I was last week with the Packers. I'm throwing this out there as the 49ers 34, Seattle 27. I think that the 49ers offense is able to get right against this Seattle defense. But I agree with you that we're talking about the two teams that are in a lower tier within this division at this point in the season. It seems like there's a dividing line between Seattle, San Francisco, and Arizona and the Rams, which is why it's so exciting that those two teams are playing one another in both those matchups.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about Arizona real quick, and then I got to go.
Let's talk about Arizona. So, depending on how we break out against Seattle, the 49er fan base will either be up in arms or celebrating wildly. And then we come up against another buzzsaw in the Arizona offense. When it comes to Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, the young rookie star wide receiver, and a decent run game and a wildly talented defense, even if they're giving up some points to this point in the season, how do you see the 49ers matching up against Arizona?
Well, I don't think Arizona's particularly well coached. I think they kind of underperform. I think they're one of the most talented teams in the league. But
I agree.
Their coach is he's like Chip Kelly. You basically have Chip Kelly as their head coach. So the Niners won't necessarily get out coached. It's just Kyler Murray's playing like an MVP right now. He's got a great wide receiver, just as good as Devontae Adams. Their front seven on defense is just full of talent. They might have the best pass rusher in the league in Chandler Jones. They also have J.J. Watt. The Niners might not be as talented as I don't know how many teams are as talented as the Cardinals this year.
That's an interesting assessment. I tend to agree with Cliff Kingsbury. Just to follow up on your comparison to Chip Kelly, by that, do you mean that he's a bit of a gimmicky, offensive-minded coach that so far hasn't been able to find success in the league?
College coach, doesn't have a lot going on with his scheme. Chip Kelly could run the ball. This guy has no run game. His run game is basically the zone read and scrambles. There's like one play. So
what's the bigger limiting factor or talent issue? Is it a bigger limiting factor to have Cliff Kingsbury behind the helm, or is the talent such that it doesn't matter and the Cardinals can win anyway?
He's not making Kyler Murray's job easier.
No.
The way you make a quarterback's job easier is give him a run game and a play action game. He doesn't do that.
Yes.
But Kyler makes his own job easier. He just runs around. He's the whole offense. So it's like almost like you don't really have to it's not about Cliff Kingsbury. It's all about Kyler. He's the whole offense. Kind of like a young Russell Wilson.
Yep.
They had a new offensive coordinator every year. It was the same offense. It was Russell Wilson's offense.
He's a young Russell Wilson that tends to make more mistakes than Russell Wilson ever made.
Right, but the Seahawks always gave Russell Wilson a running game.
Yes.
They were never do everything.
And a stellar defense.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, they definitely created an atmosphere that was more conducive to grooming.
Success.
Yeah, grooming a new quarterback, setting him up
Kyler Murray is he's doing this all by himself.
Yes. I have a lot of doubt in Cliff Kingsbury as well. I saw that, the call to try and kick the 60-some yard field goal that led to a lot of momentum coming back the other way.
The only reason that game was like remotely close.
Yeah. I see Kyler Murray still making some of those boneheaded throws where he's just chucking it up. And part of that is because he does have a wildly talented wide receiver core. And so throwing up a 50-50 ball is not necessarily a bad play.
Yeah. He's inexperienced and he takes risks, but he also makes big plays.
He does. Very big plays and is able to create on his own even when it seems like there is nothing else there. I see this as a tough matchup for the 49ers. I don't have a score prediction because we're 2 weeks out and a lot of things can change in between now and then. And I'm bad enough with just 3 days until game time. So I don't need to handicap myself any further than that. But I will say that even as a homer, even as someone who believes that the 49ers will get right against Seattle, I think we're then set up to go down and lose one to Arizona because I think that they're hot at this point in time. And so far, the 49ers have not hit their stride.
It's so interesting how big a game this is for both the Niners and the Seahawks, because if the Niners lose this game, then they got Arizona next week, which is probably a tougher game. And then same with the Seahawks. If they lose this game this week, next week they got the Rams, which is a tougher game. So, boy, you could almost argue that the team that loses this game is I'm not going to say screwed. But this is a very big game for both teams.
Very big. The Seahawks have, I think, 3 games coming up that are real tough for them. And the 49ers with these next 2 and then the bye. Oh, how miserable would that be for the fan base and for the coaching staff and for the players to drop 2 in a row to 2 division rivals and then have a week off to think about it.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We got to stick with the Seahawks this week.
Yes.
It's very exciting and intriguing what's at stake for the 49ers the next 2 games. Then they'll have to figure out what they want to do at the bye week coming up.